Super Frank, Super Frank, Super Frank, Super Frankie Lampard. Where's all those Chelsea fans singing his name? I don't see him singing his name. What's happened to Frank Lampard? Super Frank Lampard, they called him. That's what they called him. But let's be real, his time is over at Chelsea. Absolutely finished. The man, he is done at that club. There's no hope for him anymore. That's why the title of this video is What Went Wrong for Frank Lampard, because if Frank Lampard stays any longer at Chelsea, he's just going to be damaging his reputation even more than he's already done so at Chelsea. Let's break down the Chelsea game to begin with. Leicester were tremendous. Leicester dominated the game from minute 1 to 90. Leicester on the front foot, Leicester were winning second balls, stood up to be counted. They dominated the midfield, Kovacic, Mount Havertz, they just got bullied. Soft players, not the kind of player Frank Lampard was back in the day. He wasn't a soft player, he wasn't as soft as those three were yesterday. That's what was quite worrying actually. Maddison and Tielemans were absolutely bossing midfield. They are quality players. Let's just get that into the video because those two, I feel like they deserve more recognition for the job that they've been doing in midfield recently and throughout the whole season actually, because Leicester find themselves top of the table right now as we speak. Maddison was told that he needs to get his stats up, but Maddison right now, he is levels. He is actually one of the best midfielders in the Premier League because Leicester find themselves top of the table. He's one of the best playmakers and he's getting goals now. Maddison is worrying the rest of the Premier League right now. I feel like Manchester United did miss an opportunity when they were interested in him because that guy is quality. Then at the same time, you got the most overrated player in the Premier League. So I guess you could say that they made up for that one. But I feel like Maddison he's not better than Bruno Fernandes. Let me not go too far. Maddison is quality. He has to get called up for England. There's no doubt about it. Southgate needs to tell him that, hey, Maddison, bro, I'm going to take you on that play. Whether there's Mason Mount in the team, whether there's Jack Grealish in the team, whether there's anyone else in that team, I feel like Maddison, he has to be called up. Guy is just levels, man. Ndidi is one of the most underrated midfielders in the Premier League, the Nigerian king. He is the Nigerian king. He's the best Nigerian in the world. I mean, Nigeria do have some shit ballers. I'm not going to say the names too tough in it, but we got Wobi, for example. He is fucking shit, but no, Ndidi, he's actually a baller. Jokes aside, Ndidi is fucking hard. Like, he is just... That's what I mean. Leicester are title contenders this season. If you look at them from goalkeeping to attack, Jamie Vardy, a natural born goal scorer, Jamie Vardy. If you look at the defence, Wesley Fofana, that kid, oh my God. That guy is something special. Johnny Evans, baller. At the age of 32, he's showing the Premier League he's still one of the best around. Then you got James Justin is a baller. Absolute levels. Leicester City are title contenders. I'm not even going to bother naming the rest of the team and how good they are as a team in general because this video is about Chelsea. Let's move on to Frank Lampard's reign at Chelsea. Frank Lampard's finished. We know he's finished. There's no denying it. Chelsea fans know he's finished. Arsenal fans know he's finished. Man U fans know he's finished. Everyone knows he's finished. But why is he finished? What has he done wrong at Chelsea Football Club? Why did it go so bad for Frank Lampard? I just want to know why. And I'm going to tell you guys why it went so awfully wrong for Frank Lampard. You can notice I'm using the past tense because he is definitely done. I just don't see a way back for him. I absolutely don't see a way back for him. I'm hearing a Chelsea reporter on TalkSport is saying his time at Chelsea is coming to an end, that there's managers that Abramovich has been contacting. Are you crazy? The disrespect behind that. Frank Lampard should just walk out the door himself. He shouldn't even stay any longer because he's just embarrassing himself. Imagine me in a job and people are already finding my replacement for me. Nah, I'm not a dickhead. I'm gone. I'm fucking gone. Chelsea fans. Where are all the Chelsea fans though? That's what I want to know. All the Chelsea fans that were telling me Arsenal are finished, our points were in a relegation battle. You guys are only 2 points ahead of us. What's that about? I really don't know what that is about. I've been getting the most verbal abuse from the Chelsea fans about Arteta out, Arteta this, Arteta that. But Chelsea fans, you see your problem, you get gassed too easily. That's the problem you actually have. You guys just thought that you were going to be title contenders, you were going to easily breeze through the top four. You guys are not making the top four this season. Let me just tell you that right now, you are not making the top four this season. But I blame Frank Lampard for the reason why Chelsea are like this. There's no one else to blame but Frank Lampard, and this is why. Frank Lampard, he just doesn't know his best 11. If you look at the game yesterday, they don't even look like they're playing for him anymore. The only guy that really does look like he's playing for him is Pulisic and Mason Mount. As for the rest of the team, I'm just not too sure they look like they're playing for him, because if you go back to last season and the way they played for him last season when they made it to the top four, he knew his strongest 11 at the time. He had players that were playing for the badge and they were playing for him. But then again, I don't really blame the new players coming in now that aren't playing for the badge, because Chelsea are a little club, innit? So they are just a club that existed 20 years ago. So there's the reason why I can see they're not playing for the badge, innit? That's understandable. But with Chelsea, the new players that they brought in, you could argue that they didn't even need them. I would say Werner was a good signing. I still think he's a good signing. Ziyech, he's a good signing. I won't get onto Ziyech, but Thiago Silva, he hasn't been himself this season. You could even argue that I even said that Thiago Silva was a bad signing from a Chelsea perspective. They got him on a free. He's actually 36 years old. You think that's a good signing? You are absolutely crazy. Because when Arsenal got David Luiz for around 5 million, 10 million, all the Chelsea fans were saying Chelsea reject, he's old, he's this, he's that. But the guy is much younger than Thiago Silva, so what difference is that really if you're actually looking at the bigger picture? There's not really much difference to say that. I still think Thiago Silva was a bad signing. Havertz was just a waste of money. You see with Havertz, it's not that he's not a good player. I don't even know the style of play Lampard was trying to play, but he doesn't suit the style of play that Chelsea were trying to play. I think that Havertz is more of a number 8 kind of player. If you look at the structure of his body, he's not really a number 10 because he's a bit too tall and a bit too big to be a number 10. A number 10, they're normally associated with being smaller players, maybe cuter on the ball. I feel like Havertz is more of a box-to-box player, gets in and around the box, maybe assisting goals. He can even help defensively as well. It's similar to the role that Ramsey did at Arsenal, but Havertz is most definitely not a number 10. So if you're trying to fit Havertz into a team and build a team around Havertz, you have to drop Mason Mount, because at the end of the day, you want a midfield that's solid and that can get goals. My idea of a midfield three at Chelsea would have been Kante, Kovacic and Havertz. Havertz get in and around the box. Or if you're trying to maybe break down teams in the game, then maybe you can go for Mount and take out Kovacic. But I feel like because of Havertz's price tag, you have to put him in the team. The guy costs almost £100 million. Like, you can't not play Havertz. He costs too much money for them to not play him. And Lampard, he's doing that exactly. Let's move on to Tammy Abraham now. Lampard shows too much faith into Tammy Abraham. That guy is dog. He is fucking dog. He had a respectable 15 goals in 34 games in the last season that just went by. But it's still not good enough. What he does in the games is just terrible. He has 3 recognised strikers. Tell me, what team has 3 recognised strikers? Werner, Tammy and Giroud. In my opinion, he had to get rid of one of them from the summer that just went by, because it's just too much to deal with. Why would you have 3 attacking strikers? And the thing with Lampard is that he's trying to make all 3 of them happy. That's not going to work. If there's no consistency in the selections, of course Chelsea is going to perform bad. That's where Lampard got it wrong first of all. He doesn't know his best 11. Because when Chelsea players get dropped in and dropped out, they can't get any form on the pitch. They can't create chemistry. That's the key one. There's no chemistry. There's no cohesion. They can't perform well as a team because they keep playing with different players every single week. That's where Lampard's getting it wrong as well. And they just don't look like they're playing for him anymore. Chelsea fans, you guys deserve everything you're getting right now. The only player that consistently gets in the team right now is Mason Mount. Reece James is quality. That's a guy I even forgot to mention. He's quality. He deserves to be starting every week. Chilwell over fucking rated. He is the most overrated left back in the league. Chelsea fans put Chilwell best left back in the Premier League. Like, are you fucking mad? Tierney is on par with the best left back in the league. I said it. He's on par. He is, because he's just quality. As for Chilwell, that guy's just overrated. He's alright. He's alright there and again, but overrated. But we reached James quality, but only Mason Mount really gets game time in this Chelsea squad. Why does Mason Mount deserve more game time than anyone else? Don't get me wrong about Mason Mount. I think the guy is a good player. He has potential. I see the potential in him. I'm not one of those critics that decide to chat shit on Mason Mount. That's not the case. I don't do that to Mason Mount. But Chelsea, they have more than enough quality to maybe try and see what the team is like without him. I just feel like if you're going to play Mason Mount, you have to put the right pieces around him. I feel like Havertz would be one of them. And I feel like maybe Kante's sitting deep. And what makes it worse about Frank Lampard's reign at Chelsea is he's got the worst points tally to any manager that has been in the Abramovich reign. That is absolutely shocking. Chelsea fans definitely remember Andre Villas-Boas. Personally, I think he was worse than Frank Lampard. That guy was... Villas-Boas, he was the worst manager for Chelsea in the history of Chelsea Football Club. The history of their football club, because their football club is around only 20 years old, so I would say 20 years, innit? He was absolutely terrible. So the fact that Frank Lampard has less of a points tally than he did, it just says a lot about Frank Lampard's reign at Chelsea, that he just needs to be gone now. I think it's getting to that stage where it's getting poisonous, like you can feel it. It's not nice for a Chelsea legend like Frank Lampard. I do also want to say this, because of the kind of club Chelsea are and the structure that Chelsea Football Club are based on, I do feel sorry for him in the sense that maybe he does deserve a little bit more time, but because we know how Chelsea Football Club are, he's just not going to get that time. That's why everyone is screaming he has to go. Maybe he does deserve a bit of time. And what makes it worse, Frank Lampard, I hope you watch this one day, but Chelsea fans are the most disloyal fans in the entire world, because it's like they're forgetting what Frank Lampard did for their club. If Thierry Henry was the manager of Arsenal, no matter what, I would be like, please just give him time, please, because he's Thierry Henry. Look at what he did for my football club. Look at what Lampard did for Chelsea Football Club. And that's why Abramovich, he's also a dickhead, because Abramovich ain't even giving him the time. He's looking at other replacements. Just remember what Frank Lampard did for your club, Abramovich. Remember what he did. He won you guys your first UCL. He helped in that era. Think about the Premier League titles he won with Chelsea. Think about the domestic titles he won with Chelsea as well. League Cups, the FA Cups as well. So he doesn't really deserve any of this. That's why I feel for Frank Lampard as well. I feel sorry for him, but I just don't feel for the Chelsea fans, because all I'm hearing is Lampard out, Lampard this, Lampard that. But Lampard just got it wrong completely with his starting 11 throughout the season. I just feel like he has too much at his disposal, and he's not a quality enough manager yet to deal with that kind of quality. There's too many talented players in that group, and he doesn't know how to fit them into a system, and that's where Lampard got it absolutely wrong. But Chelsea fans, I just want to say this. You guys are the new banter club. You've been the banter club maybe for the past couple weeks, but after that game against Leicester, I feel like it just solidified things. It just told us fans that you guys are the new club to just laugh at. You guys are a disaster. Absolute disaster. Peace.